On Saturday it seemed that the entire Trump family had decided to stay mum regarding the March for Our Lives protest, all of them except one. Eagle-eyed Instagram users spotted Tiffany Trump liking a post that featured numerous signs from the protest in New York. One of the posters featured a sign that read, "The next massacre will be the GOP in the midterm elections." The original Instagram post belongs to Julia Mashi, who posted an image of herself carrying a sign that read, "It's not left or right, it's life or death." It remains unknown if Tiffany and Mashi actually know each other. While Mashi follows Tiffany on Instagram, Trump's youngest daughter doesn't return the favor. A number of commenters on Mashi's post pointed out that Tiffany had liked it, with some joking "Free Tiffany," and another writing, "We see you Tiffany, join us." While Tiffany was the only one of Trump's children to make any statements regarding the national protests, however subtle, she wasn't completely alone in the family. Joshua Kushner, the younger brother of Ivanka Trump's husband Jared, made a far bigger show of his support. The lifelong Democrat, and founder of investment firm Thrive Capital, posted a simple picture with the hashtag I Will March on Saturday. And on Sunday he posted an image of model girlfriend Carly Kloss holding up a sign in Washington, D.C. that read, "Load mines not guns." Meanwhile, Trump went out of his way to avoid protesters on Saturday. The president fled Washington, D.C., where 800,000 marched for stricter gun laws, for a weekend of golfing at Mar-a-Lago. Earlier on Saturday, the president's motorcade was seen heading towards his International Golf Club in West Palm Beach, but in the afternoon the motorcade took another, less direct route back to the resort. The sudden route change came as more than 2,000 teens and adults protested in Palm Beach. According to the Sun-Sentinel, the marchers gathered at Dreher Park Saturday afternoon before heading east towards Mar-a-Lago. Protesters stayed in the area for a half-hour holding up signs and chanting. They then headed back to Dreher Park. The outlet reports that Trump's typical route from his golf club back to Mar-a-Lago goes directly past Dreher Park, which means if the president had stuck with his usual way home he would have driven past the thousands of demonstrators in Palm Beach. The White House has not said why the president avoided the area. Trump, who usually uses Saturday mornings to make statements or outlandish remarks on issues that might be on his mind, has remained silent on the March for Our Lives events. White House Deputy Press Secretary Lindsay Walters released a statement Saturday afternoon saying they applaud the many courageous young Americans exercising their First Amendment rights today. Keeping our children safe is a top priority of the president, which is why he urged Congress to pass the Fix Nixon Stop School Violence Acts, and sign them into law, she added. Trump boasted about the rule on Friday night online. Obama administration legalized bump stocks. Bad idea. As I promised, today the Department of Justice will issue the rule banning bump stocks with a mandated comment period. "We will ban all devices that turn legal weapons into illegal machine guns," he wrote in a tweet. The only tweet put out by the president on Saturday morning concerned Friday's ISIS attack on a supermarket in the south of France which left 3 people dead. "Our thoughts and prayers are with the victims of the horrible attack in France yesterday, and we grieve the nation's loss. We also condemn the violent actions of the attacker and anyone who would provide him support. We are with you." Yet, had the president been at home in Washington he would have doubtless heard the sounds of thousands of young people protesting. Just feet away from Trump's weekday residence at the White House, 500,000 people packed Pennsylvania Avenue for the March for Our Lives events against gun violence. The main event was held in Washington, D.C., where survivors from Stoneman Douglas High School gave passionate speeches calling for gun reform. They were joined by a raft of stars including George and Amal Clooney, who donated $500,000 to the event, Jimmy Fallon, Steven Spielberg, Ariana Grande, and Miley Cyrus. Another 800 events were held around the world including New York for the same cause. Yet the president stayed silent on the cause behind the marches. The activists protesting on Saturday want to see lawmakers take more action and are asking for assault rifles to be outlawed, something which has not been promised. Trump's silence is all the more surprising given the fact he met with survivors of the Valentine's Day Parkland shooting in the days following the tragedy, at the White House. The president met dozens of guests who had been directly impacted by the shooting that left 17 dead, including 14 children. And he told them that he was listening to their concerns. At the same event, the president put forward a bizarre proposal to arm up to a fifth of teachers. "To me there can be nothing worse than what you've gone through," he told the victims, before bringing up reforms to the system that his administration had backed publicly. He told the survivors of the shooting and their parents that he grieved for them during the listening session at the White House, in which many of the guests implored the president to take immediate action on gun violence. Shortly after the meeting, the president came under fierce criticism last month after a photo emerged of him holding a note, written on White House letterhead, reminding him to listen to the concerns of the students who had survived the shooting. Point number 5 was a reminder to himself to tell his guests, "I hear you." Other questions that were also visible on the card included, "What would you most want me to know about your experience? And what can we do to help you feel safe?"
Where the freaks at?